Discover the most overlooked creature God cherished like none other, the shocking truth revealed. In a small town nestled between shadows and whispers, there lurked a secret so wild it could turn your stomach inside out. They called it the Whispering Wraith, a creature unseen yet deeply felt, with an aura that wrapped around your heart like a vice. Every night, as the clock struck midnight, the townsfolk felt it, a chill dancing up their spines, a flicker of movement at the edges of their vision. They would huddle together, eyes wide, breath hitching, in an unspoken pact against the unknown. Strange sounds echoed in the dead of night. Crickets ceased their chatter, the wind held its breath, and the creaking trees whispered warnings among themselves. Imagine standing in that thick silence, feeling your heartbeat drumming in your ears, when suddenly, a voice soft yet piercing echoed through the dark, begging for attention. "Look closer," it seemed to say. "I am here." But it wasn't just the stories that sent shivers through their bones. Some swore they saw shadows flit past their windows. A pair of glowing eyes would peer through, hungry for understanding, leaving a gnawing fear that perhaps something was watching them after all. The daring few who sought to capture the creature on camera found nothing but static, leaving them questioning their sanity. Could it be a spirit? A phantom? Or something entirely worse, lurking in the shadows, waiting patiently for its moment to strike? When the full moon hung high, shimmering like a beacon, the townsfolk's fears reached a peak. They spoke of the last person who ventured into the woods to seek the Whispering Wraith and how they never returned. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the sun sank lower, painting the skies with dark hues, a feeling of dread enveloped the town. Curiosity tugged at their minds like a persistent child, while panic clawed at their chests. What was hiding in the depths of the forest? What truth would they uncover if they dared to step beyond the boundary? The moment lingered in the air, crackling with unanswered questions, and perhaps the only clue to unlocking the enigma lay deeper than they ever imagined. Who would be brave enough to confront the Whispering Wraith? The moon hung low and heavy, casting ghostly silhouettes among the trees that lined the path to the woods. The town's whispers wound tighter, binding neighbors into a web of shared fears and stories as they huddled in their homes. But one restless heart ignored the warnings. Evelyn, a curious soul burdened with questions and an insatiable thirst for answers. As twilight faded, she stepped outside, her breath visible in the cool air. She had heard enough tales of the Whispering Wraith to know many would call her foolish. But the allure of the unknown called to her, louder than the warnings whispering around her. With each step toward the forest, the weight of apprehension lifted, replaced with adrenaline. Just a quick look, she murmured to herself, though guilt nibbled at her resolve. What if something happened? What if she too vanished? But what was life without a little adventure? With a last lingering glance at her house, she plunged into the depths of the looming trees. The woods closed in, shadows swallowing her whole. A silence so thick it pressed against her skin settled around her. She gripped a flashlight, its beam cutting through the darkness, revealing ancient gnarled roots and twisted branches that looked like skeletal fingers reaching out. Evelyn's heart raced, not just with fear, but excitement. The deeper she went, the more the silence evolved, tinged with an electric tension. Then came the sounds, soft whispers woven through the rustling leaves, strange murmurs that seemed to beckon her. What is this? She breathed, scanning the area. The flashlight flickered in response, as if quivering with equal parts terror and anticipation, leaving her half doubting her own resolve. Suddenly, the hair on the back of her neck prickled. A scent of damp earth and something sweet wafted through the air. Then light faint, almost magical shimmered through the branches ahead. With shaky breaths, she stepped closer, caught in a trance. This can't be real. Evelyn pushed through the last of the underbrush, the beam illuminating a clearing where the moonlight fell in soft pools. And then she saw it. A figure emerged, ethereal and beautiful yet haunting. The whispering wraith stood there cloaked in swirling mist, its outline flickering like a dying flame. Eyes, glowing like molten gold, fixed on her, and she felt those luminous orbs pierce through her soul. A marvel of beauty and fear wrapped together, a sight that tugged painfully at her heart and her sanity. The wraith didn't speak, but a rush of emotions flooded over her, sorrow, longing, and warmth. A deep, echoing voice resonated in her mind instead, "You should not have come." Evelyn's stomach twisted. Panic clawed at her throat. "I just wanted to understand. I wanted to know why you're here." The wraith tilted its head, the silence of the night seeming to hold its breath. The eyes softened, revealing a hint of something almost human. "Understanding comes with a price." A thick tension gripped the air as Evelyn realized the truth unfolding before her. The ground beneath her felt unsteady, as if ready to swallow her whole. What did this creature want from her? Heart pounding in her chest, she wrestled with the choice looming ahead. Discover the truth, or turn back before it was too late. The wraith beckoned, and with a trembling heart, Evelyn took a step forward, caught in a dance of fate. And as she did, the ground trembled beneath her feet, a rumble echoing in her bones. What darkness awaited her now? The wraith's intentions twisted in the air like smoke. Things were spiraling, the truth nothing like what she imagined. Would she find herself a part of the town's terrifying lore, or would she uncover secrets twisted in time? As the shadows danced and the wind began to howl, the decision loomed above her. What would she sacrifice for understanding? The night held its breath, and everything changed in that single moment. Evelyn's heart raced as she felt the ground pulse beneath her, alive with energy. The wraith's eyes held her captive, an anchor in a storm of uncertainty. What price? She whispered, dread wrapping around her throat like a noose. The wraith's form wavered, distorting like smoke caught in a breeze. A sacrifice not of blood, but of memory. The voice carried a weight, mingling sadness with something darker. What you seek to understand comes at the cost of your past. A tightness gripped her chest. Memories flooded her mind, laughter over family dinners, the warmth of summer afternoons spent with friends, the little things that had crafted her life. "No, I can't lose them," she murmured, desperation creeping into her tone. "I want to let go." The wraith glided closer, an otherworldly presence that felt both comforting and terrifying. "You can learn of the truth, but be warned, the journey is perilous. The past binds you, yet it can also blind you," it said, the words echoing and fading into the night. Evelyn shuddered, weighing the enormity of the choice. Knowledge and understanding dangled in front of her like a forbidden fruit. But at what cost? The thought of losing her memories gnawed at her resolve, leaving scratches of fear on her heart. "What will you take?" she asked, voice trembling as if she stood at the edge of the abyss. "Your darkest fear," came the soft reply. "Embrace it, and I will unveil the truth hidden for centuries. Refuse, and you will fade into the very legends whispered in the wind." A chill shot through her. Her darkest fear? It felt all too tangible, relentlessly echoing in the recesses of her mind. The endless scenarios of loss, of isolation, of failure. These thoughts sharpened, coalescing into a singular dread, being entirely alone. In that moment, a flood of emotions surged. Could she bear to face it? The weight of what it meant to confront such a truth twisted inside her. "Please just tell me why you haunt this forest," she cried out, desperation clawing at her voice. The wraith held its ground, an enigma wrapped in sorrow. "I am bound here by the echoes of the past. Those who could not accept their darkest truths. You risk repeating their mistakes." The clarity of the wraith's voice was juxtaposed with the haze of its apparition. "But there is a path. Will you take it?" With her resolve tested, Evelyn felt a fire awaken within her, a determination fiercely flickering against her fear. Yes. I will face whatever it is. As the words spilled from her lips, the wraith smiled faintly, a gesture of understanding or foreboding, she couldn't tell. The shadows thickened, swirling like a tempest around them. As the air thickened with tension, Evelyn felt the ground shift beneath her. Very well, the wraith murmured, and the world around her began to dissolve into fragments of memories, visions colliding, a past she thought she knew unraveling and reweaving into a tapestry of terror. She braced herself as swirling mists enveloped her. Her heart pounded like thunder, pulse racing in sync with the chaos erupting around her. Would she hold on to who she was? Or lose herself entirely in the echoes of what she feared? The wraith loomed closer, its gaze locking onto hers. Face your truth, and join me in a realm where answers lie. Will you remain true to yourself, or will you disappear into the shadows? With darkness closing in and the choice laid bare, Evelyn took a deep breath, the scent of earth and pine now mingled with something electric. Fear wove through her veins, yet something else stirred, a faint glimmer of hope. As she stepped into the void, the world fell silent, leaving her breathless, and then there was a flicker, a glimpse of something vast and unseen. What awaited her beyond the veil of memory? The whispers around her twisted, echoing familiar voices. Would she find the path she sought, or would she become just another tale in the woods? Evelyn gasped as the swirling darkness clutched at her, an insistent force breaking free of all she had known. Colors bled into one another, forming a swirling canvas of faces and places. Amidst the cacophony, whispers emerged, layered voices tinged with fear and longing. Each tone struck a chord deep within her, resonating with fragments of her own life. Evelyn, a voice broke through, clear and piercing. It was a voice she hadn't heard in years. Don't lose yourself. You're stronger than you think. Her heart stuttered in recognition. It was her mother's voice, reaching out from the depths of her childhood, an anchor she once clung to, now threatening to pull her away. Suddenly, the images coalesced into a scene, a sun-drenched backyard filled with laughter. Friends gathered around a picnic table, faces bright with joy. The familiar taste of homemade cupcakes and the scent of blooming flowers in the air. No. This isn't real, she cried out, hands curling into fists. These are just memories. Memories shape us, the wraith's voice echoed. They are the very fabric of your existence. What will it cost you to confront the truth? To leave behind the veil of comfort? As the picnic faded, a darker picture emerged. A shadowy figure stood alone in a dimly lit corridor, eyes hollow and searching. It was her, lost within her own mind, lost within her own heart. Evelyn stumbled back, the tears streaming down her face. I'm not afraid of being alone. I just don't want to forget who I am. The wraith's form solidified before her, wrapping her in an ethereal embrace that felt both like a warning and a promise. You must embrace your fear, or allow the shadows to consume you. Look again. With the last words hanging in the air, the scene shifted violently. She found herself back in the forest, trees looming like sentinels, their gnarled roots twisting toward her, demanding to be acknowledged. The ground throbbed once more, the pulse resonating with her heartbeat. Each beat screamed of urgency, and then, everything went still. A sudden, unsettling silence enveloped her. It felt oppressive, like the world inhaled and held its breath, waiting for her to act. The shadows thickened again, but within them, something flickered, an outline, barely discernible. She stepped closer, curiosity igniting hope amid turmoil. Show me. She demanded, her voice ringing out a challenge wrapped in vulnerability. The outline twisted into focus, and there lay the truth, shimmery and elusive. Ice coursed through her veins as the shape revealed itself, a being half-formed from despair and longing, caught between the shadows of her memories and the light of the truth she sought. Do you see? The entity whispered, its voice hauntingly familiar. This is your fear. The reflection of your insecurities. If you deny me, you deny yourself. A wave of terror slammed into her. Evelyn staggered back, grappling with the implications. No. I have to fight this. Desperation fueled her voice, but uncertainty echoed even louder. Embrace me. It urged. And you will uncover the secrets that bind you. The truth of who you really are. The ground shifted once more, like the earth itself had taken a shuddering breath. Compelled by the something deep within her, she reached out, her hand trembling as it approached the shimmering outline. And then all at once the shadows erupted, swirling violently like a cyclone, pulling her closer, closer still. The world around her blurred, sense and chaos colliding in a whirlwind of sound and fury. Evelyn's heart thudded wildly as she felt the grip of fear tighten around her. Would she grasp the truth, or would she be swallowed whole by the darkness? As she faced the abyss of her own making, the question rang in her mind, louder than ever: would she accept the sacrifice for the knowledge she sought? In every tremor of her heart, she realized one thing: the most dangerous enemy lay not in the wraith or within the shadows, but inside of her. And as the darkness loomed around her, the last thing she felt before the world dissolved again was the weight of that truth. Bearing down on her, what would she find when the silence shattered? What would be the cost of her awakening? The world twisted and turned, a kaleidoscope of sensations crashing against her senses as Evelyn teetered at the edge of chaos. Fear churned in her stomach, and with every heartbeat, she felt the shadows beckoning her to sink deeper. Embrace me, the voice echoed, soft yet reverberating with an unsettling authority. You cannot run anymore. Evelyn pulled her hands back, nails biting into her palms as she fought against the tide. The memories surged anew, images ripping at her mind: a failed relationship, harsh words that pierced her heart, and the moment her dreams lay crumpled at her feet. Each recollection combined with fresh anguish, strengthening the bond of fear and regret. No! She screamed into the void. The shadows enveloped her tighter, consuming every flicker of hope. I want to let you take me. But the ground quivered beneath her, a pulsating rhythm syncing with her racing pulse. The very earth felt alive, urging her to remember, to confront the intertwined threads of her past and present. Was this the battle she'd been avoiding all her life? In the suffocating silence, a voice broke through, unexpectedly gentle. You've always had the power within you, Evelyn. Use it. With a sudden clarity, she realized she could not fight the darkness with brute force. It was an invitation, not an enemy. It became evident that those who feared the shadows did so because they never sought to understand them. What if acceptance was the key? Breath hitching, she forced herself to stand firm. Okay, I'll listen, she whispered against the gravity weighing her down. She summoned every fragment of courage she could muster and stepped forward, deeper into the swirling depths. The shadows trembled as she approached, responding to her tentative resolve. The half-formed being shimmered before her, and its eyes bore into her soul, echoing endless stories of heartbreak and resilience. There was familiarity in its gaze, a reflection of every painful choice she'd made. Tell me, she stammered, her voice shaky. What must I do? Face the truth, it breathed, its voice now a haunting lullaby. Let go of what anchors you to despair. Suddenly, the vivid imagery erupted around her. The backyard picnic reappeared, laughter piercing her heart like sunlight breaking through clouds. But instead of fading, she felt warmth encase her, comforted by the joyous echoes. Remember your strength, her mother's voice rang out again, sharper this time, laced with urgency. You are more than your pain. You were born to rise. Evelyn closed her eyes, clenching her fists as memories flooded back. Each moment of vulnerability, a bruise on her spirit, had crafted the woman she was now, resilient, unbroken. She felt a surge of defiance swell within her. Enough! She howled, the word tearing free from deep within, shaking her from the shadows. I choose to remember the light. I choose to embrace who I am. With those words, something shifted. The shadows thinned, and the swirling chaos began to dissolve. A brilliance broke through the darkness, illuminating her surroundings, each memory, each painful moment coalescing into a tapestry of strength and identity. but then, out of the light stepped another figure. The sensation jolted her, chilling her spirit. "Not so fast, Evelyn," it sneered, an eerie familiarity crawling under her skin. "You think you've won? There's a larger truth yet to uncover." Her heart raced, fear coursing through her like ice, threatening to drown her in dread. "What do you mean?" she gasped, the world around her shifting once more. "Your awakening has only begun." As the words hung in the air, Evelyn realized that she was caught between revelation and alarm. The fight was far from over, a new darkness loomed, ready to test her resolve. What lay ahead? Would uncovering this new truth shatter her completely, or would it set her free? Evelyn's surroundings twisted again, a dizzying spectacle of colors and sensations fighting for dominance in her mind. The previous warmth evaporated, replaced by an icy grip that tightened around her throat. "What larger truth?" she demanded, her voice barely above a whisper, battling both fear and curiosity. The figure laughed, a hollow sound that echoed through the void. It wore a face she recognized, yet it was twisted by shadows, features distorted into something almost sinister. "You thought you could escape the past? It's all right here, waiting for you." As it spoke, images began to unfurl, each one more painful than the last. The final moments of her childhood home, a place where love and laughter once thrived. Now, it throbbed with shadows, memories of echoes turned to screams, and every tender moment shredded to confetti at the hands of abandonment. Bile rose in her throat. "No. I refuse to relive this." "Refusal won't save you," the figure shot back, its voice growing sharp, like shards of glass. "Every part of this is you, Evelyn. You can't simply wish away what's embedded in your soul. Those fragments, they're what make you whole." Evelyn's hands trembled. Where was her strength now? She felt herself slipping, each memory a weight that pressed down harder than the last. She thought of her mother, the warmth in those solemn words. It flickered like a candle in a storm. But the darkness clawed at her, desperate to extinguish that light. "Let me show you." The figure waved a hand, and the scenery shifted once more. She found herself in a crowded room, a place filled with love and laughter, her wedding day. But instead of excitement, she felt dread seep into her bones as visions of betrayal cascaded before her, hushed conversations hushed behind her back, the cold touch of deceit wrapped around her heart. "No, not this," she gasped, horrified. "Please, I can't bear it." "You're already bearing it. You're standing in it." The figure's laughter turned cruel, its mouth stretching in a twisted grin. "By refusing to confront these moments, you're allowing them to control your life. And until you face them, you'll stay trapped in this emotional prison." An overwhelming surge of dread washed over her. The imagery was brutal, but it was no lie. Her past lingered like a dark cloud, unrelenting in its grip. What was she running from? But before she could wrestle with the answer, the scene morphed again. It shifted to a stark hospital room, where she could see her reflection, pale, fragile, and defeated. The sight startled her, stirring an anger deep inside. "This isn't who I am," she screamed, her voice splintering through the darkness. "Isn't it?" The figure stepped closer, its eyes dark and probing. "Every held breath, every moment of doubt, it has become your identity. You are climbing a mountain of your own making. Can you even remember how to descend?" Her heart raced, each pulse drowning out the figure's taunts. But then, words from her mother echoed in her mind. "You are more than your pain." Evelyn took a deep breath, grounding herself in those words. "I am more than my pain," she yelled, her voice swelling with defiance. Each syllable broke through the haze of fear, cutting into the shadows like a knife. "Then prove it." The figure shrieked, and the room trembled with its fury. "Face the truth." As the finality of the words settled in her core, she felt a swelling of something else, a burgeoning light within her that burst forth. She was tired of hiding, of running. The shadows that once loomed large were nothing without her fear, but just as she felt herself breaking through, the figure lunged, screaming, "You cannot escape me. The truth will find you, and it will ruin you." A new wave of terror swept through her. Would she indeed be ruined, or would this confrontation be the beginning of her liberation? Evelyn took another step towards the light, her heart hammering. What truth awaited her in the depths? Would she discover the courage to face it, or would the shadows swallow her whole? With every heartbeat, the stakes rose, and she could only charge ahead into the unknown. The next moment could change everything, but would she be ready for it? The light enveloped Evelyn, warm and golden, pulsing with a rhythm that matched the beat of her heart. She felt the shadows retreat, but the chilling presence of the figure loomed, lurking at the edges, feeding on her uncertainty. "Step into the light, Evelyn," it coaxed, voice slick with mockery. "You really believe it can dispel your darkness? You think you can wash away what's inside you with a few brave words?" Evelyn clenched her fists, grounding herself in the warmth. "It's not about the words. It's about the truth." Each declaration felt like weight lifting, but the figure's laughter bit deeper, echoing around her. "What truth do you think lies in that light? It's a mere illusion, a glimmer of hope that you cling to like a safety blanket." It stepped closer, and Evelyn felt the air grow thick, suffocating. "What if I tell you that happiness lies in knowing you are still the same frightened child? What if stop?" she yelled. "I won't let you manipulate me any longer." The confidence surged through her veins like fire. She could feel the pulse of the light growing brighter, matching her newfound strength. "What's happening?" The figure spat, visibly straining as it stumbled back. "You should be cowering. Not fighting back." Evelyn closed her eyes, summoning the memories. She remembered the laughter, the love of her family, the warmth of understanding from friends who had stood by her. Each warm memory bolstered her conviction. No more lies. No more fear. She cried, feeling her voice resonate throughout the shifting landscape. She opened her eyes, and the surroundings began to coalesce, transforming into a serene meadow filled with vibrant colors blooming wild. It was a place untouched by pain, a sanctuary of her creation. "You think you can escape? You think this is freedom?" The figure's voice shifted from mocking to eerily calm, the darkness pouring into glimmers of despair. "Maybe I can," Evelyn retorted, her hands outstretched toward the light. "Maybe facing it is what sets me free." "Face what, Evelyn?" The figure smirked, its eyes glinting like knives in the sun. "Your failures. Your fears. Your abandonment. To confront what you ran from is to embrace it, all of it. Are you prepared to do that?" Her breath hitched. Could she really confront the feelings she had buried deep? The wounds that still throbbed? If it means breaking free, then yes. She shouted, the last remnants of doubt peeling away. "Very well," it sneered, but now there was a hint of uncertainty in its tone. "Let us see what truly lies in your heart. Let us picture that sweet, little memory you've kept hidden." Suddenly, the meadow shifted again, taking her to a desolate place, a room filled with echoes of despair, the cold stone a stark contrast to her fleeting peace. Every detail sharpened, the flickering light of a single candle, the heavy silence pressing down, the anguish of a lost dream that never saw the dawn. "No!" Evelyn gasped, tears brimming. "Not this. This is part of you too." The figure morphed, merging with the shadows, dark clouds swirling around them. "Your darkness is a thread in your tapestry. Will you face it now?" A chill swept over her, numbing her resolve momentarily. Yet, just as doubt threatened to take root, the warmth returned. Those memories wrapped around her, reminding her of the love she had. "Not now, not ever." She shouted defiantly, standing her ground against the encroaching darkness. "I won't allow you to distort my truth any longer." But the shadows constricted tighter, and panic threatened to claw its way in as the figure moved closer, its voice hissing, "Are you ready for the ultimate revelation, Evelyn? You might not like what you find. As fear clawed at her mind, she closed her eyes for a moment, steadied her breath, and whispered, "Show me. I can't run anymore." With that, the void around them pulsated, rippling like a disturbed lake. The moment felt electric, every hair on her arm standing on end. She braced herself for the truth that would sweep over her, a truth that could shatter her, or perhaps, finally set her free. What lay beyond this threshold? What secrets would emerge from the depths of her soul? Evelyn wasn't sure, but one thing was clear: the time for hiding was over. And as darkness coiled tight around her, she sensed something shifting, something that could either engulf her or release the final chains. Would she brace herself for the moment when the light and dark collided? What startling truth awaited on the other side? The darkness pulsed like a living thing, wrapping around Evelyn in serpentine waves. As she stood at the precipice of the unknown, the figure's mocking laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence that pressed heavily against her chest. "Here it comes," it hissed, almost soothing, and in that moment, the air shimmered. A vision materialized in the void, jagged edges like broken glass piecing together a long-buried memory. The scene? A birthday party, but not just any birthday, it was her 7th. The ice cream cake sat proudly on the table, the candles flickering like tiny suns. Kids laughed, their faces bright with joy, but then, she saw herself, sitting alone beneath the swing set. Her tiny fingers curled tight around the cold metal of the chains, her heart heavy. "See what you forget?" the figure taunted, its voice echoing from the shadows. "How can you ever find peace when you always felt so alone?" Evelyn's stomach twisted. I remember," she whispered, shame mixing with the sharpness of the memory. And then, like a tidal wave crashing down, the warmth of the light swept through her again, an anchor in the storm. "But they loved me," she countered, her voice gaining strength. "I had friends. Yet, you clung to isolation like a lifeline." "You shut them out," the figure replied, oozing false sympathy. "What happens when you realize love wasn't enough? When you find out you were never truly valued?" The laughter of children faded into a low murmur, blending with a mocking chorus that swirled around her. Evelyn strained to hear the warmth of their voices, but they grew muffled, slipping from her grasp as despair dug its claws deeper. "No, you're wrong," she shouted, the words bursting from her like air escaping a balloon. "They cared. They wanted me there." "Cared? When the party ended, who stayed with you?" It sneered. "Who comforted you when the laughter faded and you cried in the night, longing for a hand to reach out? Is that love, Evelyn?" The scene wavered and shifted, reeling her into a darker place, a dim room where echoes filled the walls like whispers of a long-dead memory. She felt the cool hardness of the floor beneath her, the stillness creeping in again. In the heart of the shadow was a reflection of her older self, a version caught in a cage of doubt. Tears streamed down her cheeks, swallowed by the shadows around her. "No. This isn't me," she cried, but the figure merely smiled, twisting the darkness into shapes that mocked her truth. "Isn't it, though? This is the prison you built. You can't escape it." Yet, even as despair threatened to engulf her, a flicker of light came from deep within her, an ember of truth. "I've felt pain, yes," she spoke, grounding herself in the connection she had with those who loved her. "But I also felt joy. I felt strength. I faced my fears." "Strength, you say?" The figure chuckled, yet there was a faint tremor now, like it was losing its grip. "Then why are you still afraid? Why do you still hide?" "I'm not hiding anymore," Evelyn declared, her voice erupting through the thick air. The shadows retreated, a split-second flash of light illuminating the surrounding darkness. "I'm ready to face it all." But as the light surged, she felt her resolve wobble like a flame in a chaotic wind. What would she find when she dove deeper into that daunting truth? Could she truly unravel the tangled mess of her past and still emerge whole? In that heartbeat of silence, the figure loomed larger, its dark presence twisting with fury. You dare to defy me? You're not ready, for the truth is darker than you know. With fear gnawing away at her confidence, Evelyn steadied herself. She had come too far to retreat now. The moment of revelation was near, and with it came the question, would she rise or would she fall when faced with the ultimate truth of herself? The air crackled, waiting for her next move. What awaited her on the other side of acceptance? Would she find liberation or a deeper shadow? The answer lay just beyond her grasp, and Evelyn was terrified yet exhilarated, her heart racing as she prepared to leap into the abyss of her own reality. The moment stretched like a rubber band, and Evelyn felt time slow as she teetered on the edge of a decision. The figure, now colossal, loomed over her, a dark hurricane that wreaked havoc on her thoughts. Its laughter echoed like crackling thunder in her mind. "Are you really ready, Evelyn?" It taunted, the tone shifting into something sinister. "What if the truth is that you are as unworthy as I claim? What if your precious memories are nothing more than a facade?" Sweat beaded on her forehead, her breath coming in shallow spurts. Alone, the weight of the moment bore down on her. "Find it!" she screamed, pushing her body forward, heart racing. "Show me the truth!" Suddenly, the shadows swarmed, contracting until they thrust her into a different scene, a corridor wrapped in whispers, echoes of her past flooding back in chaotic bursts. She stumbled forward, the walls pulsating with dim light, the air thick with tension. "Welcome back, Evelyn," a voice called, sweet yet unnerving. It was her mother's voice. But what followed was a haunting chill, her mother standing over her, eyes dull, expression distant. "Mom?" Evelyn's voice cracked, confusion clawing at her. What are you doing here?" "I was always here," the figure replied, a shadow of the woman she once adored. "Waiting for you to understand. Waiting for you to acknowledge your failures." The darkness around them thickened, swirling like a tempest of despair. Evelyn felt herself waver, the confidence she had summoned flickering under the weight of her mother's words. "Failures? I tried. I did everything right." She protested, but her conviction felt faint against the storm of memories crashing in. Here was the moment her mother hadn't attended her graduation, the silence that loomed afterward. Her own small heart shriveled in the wake of disappointment like a flower without sunlight. "Yet you never saw the truth." The figure leaned closer, and Evelyn could see sadness etched in its eyes, mirroring her own unhealed wounds. "You were never enough for me. How could they love you, when even I couldn't?" "No," Evelyn choked out, shaking her head as the illusions of love like vines constricted around her throat. "That's not true." But deep down, a whisper of doubt flared up. What if it was true? What if that lonely little girl beneath the swing set had been right to feel abandoned? "Embrace it, Evelyn," the figure crooned. "Let it swallow you up, become like me. You feel the burden of reality. It's heavy, isn't it?" "No, I want tea," she yelled, fists clenching, trying to expel the darkness creeping in. "I want to let you make me forget who I am." With that defiance, something shifted in the air. The memories fluttered like moths, and one bright, fragile one shone through the laughter of her friends, the warmth of conversations, the way they'd rally by her side even when she felt like a ghost in the crowd. Yet in that brightness, another tear shadowed it, an old promise broken. A boy from school, waiting to be called, but forgotten. A whisper of potential lost to her isolation. Would she leave him behind forever? No. She screamed, her spirit aflame, blazing with the resolve to reconcile her truth. "I will not be defined by loss, not anymore." Suddenly, the shadows ripped open, splitting the air with a thunderous crash. The figure snarled, shrinking back, its shape flickering like a flame in the wind. "Do you think you can stand against the truth?" It spat, and the tension crackled like static around her. "You're standing on the edge, but you don't know what you're risking." Breathless, Evelyn felt the pull of the abyss at her feet, once more a temptation to fall into despair or thrive on the promise of hope. Her heart thundered against her ribcage as the battle intensified within her. What salvation awaited her in the chaos? Could she build something new from the fragments of lingering pain? In that heartbeat, the world halted, a breath away from her next step. Would she take the plunge and embrace both joy and heartache, or would she remain shackled to the darkness? The answer lay just ahead, a faint glimmer threading its way through the murky depths, leading her toward a confrontation that would change everything. Evelyn stood at the precipice of her darkest fears, the shadows swirling menacingly around her legs, but instead of retreating, a fierce resolve ignited within her. Strength poured from her core, feeding the light flickering in her heart. She would not allow the darkness to define her any longer. As she took a bold step forward, the figure in the shadows writhed, its form flickering as if struggling against the light she wielded. "You think you're brave?" it hissed, splattering disdain through every word. "You think confronting your pain will set you free? You will never escape your past." Evelyn felt the tremors of doubt creeping back, but she grounded herself in the laughter of friends, in memories filled with warmth and affection, the celebration of small victories and the bittersweet taste of love and loss that shaped who she was meant to be. "I will not be afraid of my past. I need to embrace it," she shouted, her voice cutting the air like a knife. "Embrace what?" The figure sneered, shadows creeping toward her. "Your failures? Your loneliness? Residing in the corners of your mind?" "Yes," she retorted, her heart pounding louder than her doubts. "Those experiences are not my enemy. They helped me grow." The world trembled as she declared her truth. Light burst forth from the depths of her soul, radiating like the sun after storm clouds. It consumed the darkness, shattering the oppressive weight that bound her. The familiar laughter of children echoed, intertwining with the sound of her heartbeat, a hymn that mirrored her liberation. The figure lurched backwards, losing its form, its expression twisting into something almost fearful. "No! You can't fight me!" it shrieked, splitting apart into fragments of dark substance. "You need to dwell in despair. Despair is not my home anymore." Evelyn shouted defiantly, embodying the very essence of her spirit. This was the moment she had fought for, and she wouldn't falter now. As hope surged through her, she closed her eyes and whispered the truth she had buried for too long. "I am worthy. I am loved. I will embrace all of who I am, the light and the dark." With those words, the shadows began to dissolve, dissipating like smoke in the breeze. The world swirled around her, the past collapsing and rearranging until she stood in a vivid burst of color, a field bursting with wildflowers swaying in the warm sunlight, a scene that felt like home. Evelyn opened her eyes, blinking against the brightness. Falling to her knees amidst the blooms, tears flowed freely, bringing with them years of pain and releasing it into this sacred space. The warmth wrapped around her like a warm embrace, and for the first time, she felt whole. In that instant, she understood her journey was not about erasing her past but learning to hold it gently without letting it hold her captive. The dualities of loss and love, despair and joy, intertwined within her, creating a narrative that was uniquely hers. As the vibrant colors danced around her, she saw the shadows fade into mere echoes, a reminder of what she had faced, a testament to her resilience. The forest's whispers transformed into a gentle breeze, a soft melody reassuring her that she was not alone. Evelyn rose to her feet, a newfound courage bubbling inside her. She stepped forward, ready to embrace her life fully, letting go of the past but carrying its lessons with her like cherished keepsakes. The wraith materialized one last time, its form softer now, no longer threatening. "You have awakened," it said, a hint of reverence in its tone. "You've found your truth. Now, will you share it?" "Yes," Evelyn declared, a smile spilling across her face, bursting with the light she'd reclaimed. "I will tell my story, and in doing so, perhaps others can find their own way through the shadows." With a final nod, the wraith dissipated into warm mist, merging with the air, leaving Evelyn standing in the sunlight, a living testament to courage and acceptance. As she turned to leave the woods behind her, she felt lighter, as if the weight of the world no longer clung to her shoulders. The town. Awaited her return, the whispers and fears replaced with companionship and understanding, a bond strengthened through shared humanity. Her heart swelled with gratitude as she stepped into the embrace of the town, the sun warming her face. Evelyn knew her journey had only just begun, but she was equipped with the strength to venture forth, ready to rise beyond her fears, to intertwine her story with the lives of those around her. And as the townspeople gathered, eyes filled with wonder and warmth, the whispers began again, this time not of fear, but of hope. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to catch the next thrilling adventure that awaits, exploring even deeper secrets that bind us all. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and keep our amazing community growing. And don't hold back. Flood the comments section with your thoughts, reactions, and theories about Evelyn's journey. You can instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who could use a spark of inspiration today. This is the moment to show your support. Let's keep this movement alive together.